Hello, folks. One of the problems that I see usually with students is, and I had the same problem was that I would make the axis in the wrong direction. Once one of the setups that we already know for axes is like we know the x is going to the right, your y is going up, and your z axis is coming out of your plane. That's an easy one, but sometimes we have to move things around, and then it gets difficult. One of the easier ways that I have found working with this setup is either to use a uh, either to use right hand rule or to use your fingers in that manner. But I always find it easier to go with the curl thing or right hand rule. So what I can show you is, um, for instance, you have it in other direction. That's not your Z. If I make this into your, let's start with the basic, with what we already know. So what happens is you run your fingers along the x. As you can see my x-axis is to the left, is to the right, and as I run my fingers along my x-axis, and then I curl toward my y. My y is going up, and I curl toward the right, toward the y, and my thumb in that direction is gonna point toward the z direction. As you can see, it's coming out of the plane. It's coming out of the plane right now. For instance, if we change things around, let's let's make this as your y and this as your x. In that case, what we will do is we'll run fingers along the x-axis and then curl toward the y-axis, which is to the right, and then this is pointing. My thumb is pointing into the plane. That means that is the z-axis. So our z-axis is gonna be into the plane. And just on a side note, this is out of plane, and across is into the plane. Think of this as a bow or an arrow going away from you, and an arrow going away from you, and this is an arrow coming toward you. So that's come out of the plane and into the plane. And I have a couple of examples right now I want you to do. Just hold on, look at the examples, and wait for a few seconds before I solve them. You have to look for x-axis in this question. You have to look for x-axis, and you can hold the video right now for a few seconds, and then I'll be explaining the solutions. Then you go into the plane with x, curl in y, and your thumb is pointing towards the z direction. So that is into the plane. So that this is your x-axis going into the plane. If your y is coming out of the plane and your x is positive up there, so you run your hold on to the video for a few seconds, and you can see the solution. So you run your fingers along the x-axis and curl in y, and your thumb is pointing toward your z direction. So my z is to the right, and that's my z direction. You can still pause the video and see what's happening. X is into the plane, turn. X is into the plane, turn towards y, and your y. So your y, positive y-axis is to the right. As you can see, it's not always the case that you have everything on the right or left or something like that. It's gonna be different every time in every different setup. Another example in this, your y will be pointing up, and your z would be going into the plane, and we'll see how to solve it shortly. For this type of question, I have to change my sides, and as you can see, if I run my fingers along the x-axis and curl toward y, my thumb is pointing in the z direction. So my x-axis is to the left over here. That's my x-axis. Another example that we can think of is if my y is into the plane and my z is to the right. Then again, we have to use the same formula, same idea. This type of question, we have to make some kind of assumptions with us. First is um, our x could either be going up or our x could be going down. For instance, if I say my x is going down, and using the same approach that we used before, running our fingers along the x-axis and curling them out toward the y-axis, our y-axis coming out, curling out, and we see it's pointing to the right, to the left. That is for the z direction, but our z is not on the left. Let's see if we make a different assumption. If our x is going up and then we curl toward y, which is coming out of the plane, curl toward y, it's pointing toward the z direction. And now you can see that makes the right direction. So our x is going up and our z is going to the right.